Hey guys, welcome back to Rolo Reacts. It's Rolo back again this week with a review on the show The Last of Us on HBO Max. I'm a huge fan of the video games that are for PlayStation. I played both of them several times, and I was super excited when I heard the show was going to come out. I just recently wanted to start like a reaction channel, but I don't know much about like editing and stuff like that, so I'm still working out those kinks. That's why I didn't make a video of the premiere last week. And although last week's episode was a good starting point and brought us into that world, just like the video game, introduced us to the characters and, let us know what everything was about. Especially, selling Joel's daughter's death. That was so sad, but this episode, as I was watching it and then at the very end of it, I was just so blown away. The suspense right from the get-go was through the roof. The opening scene with the doctor, being picked up at the restaurant from the military. They're like, hey, you got to come over here and, take a look at this because we feel like, this is odd and it may be something very bad, and we don't want to know how to attack it and see if you could do some type of vaccine or, medicine to cure this. And that scene when after she inspected that corpse, she saw the fungus and she's just there like trembling with the tea in her hand. Oh my god, that scene was like frightening, because you're like, oh man, all that's gonna come from this is bad news. And that's exactly what happened. The guy's like, hey, we need you to make a vaccine or some type of medicine to attack this. How should we proceed? And she's just basically like, you gotta bomb this place, this whole city, everybody in this city. We don't know who the person is that did the initial infecting or who else is infected at this point, basically. So you know what? To avoid this whole spread, bomb this city. And then, later we realize or we see that I guess they started doing those bombings throughout different cities around the world, which is just insane to think about. Like, but that opening scene, the doctor, the colonel or the sergeant guy, the expressions on their face were just, they sold it, man. Like, horrific. Like, you're just sitting there like, geez, man, like the stakes are so damn high. And I just love how they gave that backstory. We didn't see none of that in the video game. We kind of got like a little, as the game was starting, we got some type of explanation of what happened. And, people are infected and now, they basically turn into like these clickers or bloaters or whatever like that. But, incredible. And then, the actress from Game of Thrones that plays Ellie, I was a little skeptical when I saw her in the trailers and, I was like, oh man, Ellie's such an awesome character. Is she going to sell it? And she does. In this episode, right off the bat, she's witty. She comes back with those smart ass remarks, and it's just I'm growing a love for her, just like Joel is. At the beginning of this episode and even in the last episode, Joel is like, I don't know, if I want to go on with this girl, and he's just waiting for her to turn. He has the trigger on his finger on the trigger, and it's just, he's like, he's not playing that. But like towards the end of this episode, you could see, he starts, I guess, drawing the parallels between his daughter and Ellie now. And he's growing somewhat of like a fondness for her. So I love the way they did that. It's just how it happened in the game. That suspense in the museum and that scene with the clickers. Straight out of the video game, and I loved that. It was just a beautiful thing to see because how sometimes they do some type of adaptation of some type of video game or like a old movie or something of that nature, and they change the way something looks. In this show, they did not change the way the clickers looked, the sounds they made, and then that scene in the museum when they're on the second floor. That's a mission in the video game, in the very first video game, because I'm playing it through again right now just to follow along with the where the show's going, and it was just I was in awe the whole time. I was really, in suspense and worried for the characters. I bought the fear that they had. And just the clickers were so on point. I mean, they didn't modify that at all. They basically made it exactly the way it was. And I love that, because it's, you got to keep it true to the story. You can't be changing stuff, just for cinematics and stuff like, I mean, the cinematics already from the game were legit. So having it be that way on the show is just phenomenal. And then you get a little bit of in between where you see Ellie and Joel start forming some type of relationship. And I love that, because you could see like, he's softening up to her and, and she's trying to, he's getting annoyed with her little smart remarks or whatever like that. But, he's growing like a love for her. And, I'm just, the way the Pedro Pascal, he just sold that, he's Joel, I mean, it's from the video game to the show. It's just crazy how they got somebody to play him exact, and then Tess, Tess, towards the end of the episode, she starts, acting funny, whatever like that, because of the sprained ankle, and she's a little like bothered because Joel keeps with the nonsense of, oh, she's gonna turn any moment now, and especially since she got bit again, that's just gonna solidify it or whatever. And she finally tells him like, come on, man, let's have some faith, let's continue on, this could be a change, everything doesn't have to be how it was, or the turnout doesn't have to be the same, it could be different. And you could tell it makes him think, and then once he finds out she's infected and that she still has, hope for a cure to be a possibility, it's just like, she sells it so well, and she goes out in the most, badass way. I mean, she basically, blew that place up with herself in it, committed suicide to let them get ahead. And it's just, she was a great character. It sucks that she had to go within, the first 2 episodes, but just like the game, very honorable, and just a great all-around character. What I thought was cool about this that they didn't do in the video game was explain how the fungus spread. And that's kind of, it's like the internet, like a web of, and the after show, they were talking about it's like kind of like the internet, like, the way you could communicate from somebody in one country to another country. It's kind of how the fungus like spreads and reacts to each other. Those guys were dead, and then the ones that were in the field that they were looking at from that building that they were in, kind of sensed that these guys are like freshly dead, infected. And I thought that was pretty cool. That really didn't happen in the game, so I thought it was a nice, spin on changing something up for the show, and giving a more a more fascinating explanation of how that spreads, and how people turn, and how they become attracted to others. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I was just excited. This show is blowing me away, so far with the first 2 episodes, especially this last episode. And I'm just excited to see where the rest of the season goes. If they continue on this path with, following the important beats of the video game and staying true to the characters, I mean, I think this could be one of HBO's biggest hits. And they could even go on, to a second season and do the second part, The Last of Us 2, which would, it would just be phenomenal if they went forward with doing both video games. So, I loved it. I'm curious to see what everybody else thinks. If you have, any opinions or comments, or, want me to do any other type of reactions, definitely drop it in the comments below. And I'm just so excited about this show and this whole season for the show. I'm going to continue watching, continue making these videos. And, hopefully we could build a community and talk about this. I'm a big nerd about these things. So I hope you liked my reaction. Again, it's Rolo Reacts. I'm Rolo, and I thank you for visiting my channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch this review, so to say. And I'm sure they'll get better. It's just I'm still in the process of learning how to edit videos and do this whole YouTube thing. So it's a whole new thing for me. So we'll see how it goes, and hopefully I can fan out and geek out with some of you. All right, guys. Well, thanks for checking out the video. Again, like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good day. Until next week. Bye.